Let's bring up Shi Davidi from Sportsnet.ca as Kansas City is on the verge of shutting a lot of faces. Hello, Shi.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Just like everyone predicted.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we were on that early. Ned Yost had a roster where 7 guys had playoff experience going into this. 7. Yet they're here. And they're not just here. They're 7-0 here. They haven't lost here. In the division era, this is the best playoff start anyone's had. Well, they're tied with 2 other teams.
Where?
Here.
Right.
Did that wild card game, Shi, give them all the experience they needed? Or or am I reaching there?
Maybe you're reaching, but those one-game playoffs can just instantly convince a team to start believing in itself, right? And I think experience can be overrated, but I think what that game did for them is it taught them not to be afraid of the moment, maybe, and allowed them, they fell behind early, they came back, and they realized, you know what, we just need to play our game, and we just need to be ourselves. If we're us, we'll be fine. And I think that's a huge thing in the postseason because we see so many guys so many teams who will build it up and feel the pressure and put expectations on themselves and get tight, and then they don't play like themselves. Mm-hmm. And they go into horrible stuff. I mean, just think about someone like Barry Bonds, one of the greatest players in baseball history, terrible in the postseason. Alex Rodriguez, terrible in the postseason. So we've seen it happen to a lot of teams. And then so you get that one game, you believe, they start believing in themselves, they realize we just do our thing, they're able to relax. And it's funny, I had an interesting conversation with someone a while ago on what clutch is. And they suggested, is clutch someone who rises to the occasion, or is clutch who's someone who's able to treat every moment the same and do the things that makes them successful all the time in the big moment and not treat it differently? And we're seeing the Kansas City Royals not treat this moment differently. They're playing their game. They're doing all the things that got them here. And ultimately, that, I believe, is a key part of their success.
It's funny about that conversation because I was shouted down when talking about the very same thing with Derek Jeter by the likes of Keith Law, who insisted that in their research we are proving that there is no such thing as a clutch hitter. There are such thing as clutch hits. And the one thing that I pointed to in their research was, well, they're not pointing to those who poop their pants in that spot. And that's the only counter that I have for it is if you've ever been in a spot like that before, if you've ever played a sport at any level, you've seen people melt under pressure. And the clutch might not have anything to do with spiking the numbers, but just keeping them the same in spots like when a sacrifice bunt is laid down with 2 on, nobody out in the top of the 10th, or excuse me, the bottom of the 10th inning. Like those things, I firmly believe are real, and they need to be taken into consideration when you're talking about that entire conversation.
Yeah, I agree with you. But the thing is, it's impossible to quantify.
Right.
Right? I mean, you're trying to quantify someone's cojones factor. And, there is no measure for that. It's like, but you see it with your eyes and you see it with the sense that the player gives off on the field is that some guys don't shrink and some guys do. And really, it's not so much about rising to the occasion, just like I said before. I really believe that the guys who are the same all the time, and Derek Jeter is the same all the time. Mm-hmm. He's the same guy, win, lose, up, down, good, bad. And that's why he's able to perform the way he performs in that moment. And the other guys competing against him, I mean, that's got to rub off on them and affect them, especially if you're a little bit on the weaker end of the weaker-minded. So it's a great conversation. It's a great debate to have. But we've seen enough examples in sports of it affecting people negatively. And if it affects people negatively, then at the same time, you're going to have some people that it can affect positively too. And, just because it's impossible to quantify doesn't mean that it exists. So right. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, or it doesn't exist. It's a scientist once told me that just because bad theories prove points doesn't mean that the theories are good, right? You can still get to the same end. Doesn't mean the theories are still good. Both ways.
The scientist's name was Ken Reed.
Okay, so since we're on this roll, 7-0, 4-0 on the road, 4-0 in extra inning games. Do you believe in the idea of the team of destiny?
That I don't believe.
Okay.
I hate a team of destiny and things like that. I just think it's an easy and convenient thing to say when a series of events happen that we can't easily explain.
Okay, let me rephrase it. How about a team of what the hell is this?
Well, they're definitely a team of what the hell is this?
Yeah, we can phrase them that way.
They've been defying the odds all along. Right? I mean, like, seriously, they shouldn't be here. They shouldn't have gotten past Oakland. That Oakland bullpen doesn't blow leads like that in the eighth inning. And they came undone. Like, they were dead in that game, dead in the water. And, you know, and they had a couple close calls in extra innings. They got out of it, and then they finally found a way to win it. So they're definitely a team of what the hell's going on here. and they're fun to watch. I mean, you know, you try to look at this series with your head, and you think there's no way that the Baltimore Orioles shouldn't club them into the ground. Yet here they are. And, you know, if Jason Vargas stuffs the Orioles today, I mean, that lineup should tear up Jason Vargas in general. But who knows? I mean, the way things are going, he just might shut them down and 4-0 and off to the World Series.